What's up, YouTube? So before we get started, Colin Cowherd is going to be interviewing Reggie Bush. So Reggie Bush is the ex-running back for the USC Trojans. So he won a Heisman Trophy, two national championships back-to-back. Would have had a third one, but Texas ruined that. And he won a ring with the New Orleans Saints. So let's see what they have to say.
My absolute pleasure to introduce a new colleague and a coworker. Reggie Bush has been signed on by Fox Sports. He's going to join Urban Meyer and Brady Quinn and Matt Leinhart. I almost said Matt Lauer.
So I'm glad to hear that Reggie Bush is doing good. I'm happy he's still active in the game, even though he's not playing anymore. So I think he will make a great sports announcer. So let's keep going.
Rob Stone will host. It is the new Fox Saturday pregame show in the fall, 12 Eastern. You're going to be part of what I think is going to be an amazing ensemble of people. You got a Notre Damer. You got your teammate Maddie. Urban Meyer's obviously, to me, Nick Saban and Urban are the two best college coaches in the history of college football. So congratulations. And Fox, you work with the New Orleans Saints, who have a great reputation of treating their players and former players well. I will say the same thing with Fox. Best place I've ever worked. Best management, treat people well. It is interesting. You know, you're going to work with Brady Quinn. He's a Notre Damer. And when I think of you, there's two college games I think of. The Fresno State game. Where you were like crazy town. And then the Notre Dame game. I watched that game on my couch in Connecticut, and I literally was nervous. When you were in that game, you're night.
So just to give a little recap, when Reggie Bush played against Fresno State, some people say that's the game that won him the Heisman Trophy, because, I mean, he was just all over the place where he was running. I mean, he was running from sideline to sideline, and then he'll break maybe an 80-yard run. I mean, he would just absolutely kill it. If I recall that game, I think he rushed like 230 yards or something like that. I can't recall. It's been a while. But he went from like sideline to sideline, and he was just all over the place. He killed Fresno State. And the other Notre Dame game, the other game that Colin's talking about, is when they played against Notre Dame. I forgot what their ranking was, but that game went down to the wire, and it was an excellent game. It went down to the point that USC had to go down and score, and one of the USC football players pushed Reggie Bush in the back to kind of assist him to score. So that was a whole controversy. But let's get back to what they're talking about.
18 years old. Did you understand? Some say it's the greatest college game ever played. Did you get how big it was?
During the game, no. After the game, I felt all the emotions of winning the game. It was one of the only times I actually cried after the game. Just broke down just in emotions because we had put so much into that game and everything leading up to it, and just the way we won, and just knowing that this, at the end of the day, this was one of the greatest games I had ever played in, and I realized that right after the game. And a lot of great players in that game. That was Zibikowski hit me in the back right there. Obviously,
I think that's the hit that pushed Reggie Bush into the end zone to help them win that game. I'm not positive, but just off the top of my head, I think that's the guy that pushed Reggie Bush, or not pushed him. I don't know. It was a controversial call. If you guys want to look it up on YouTube, you should guys go check it out. The Notre Dame versus USC. It's like, I don't know, 2003, 2004. I can't remember. But let's keep going.
Brady Quinn, but it was just such a great game. And, obviously I'm glad we were on the winning side. But I've also been a part of a great game that we were on the losing side, which is the Texas game, And so that's what's amazing about sports, is just that, you can't predict the outcomes, right? And you just never know. And again, like you said, that was one of the greatest games I ever played in.
Another great game that Reggie Bush played in is when Vincent Young beat USC at the last second. I think Vincent Young ran in for a 20-yard run that all USC had to do was hold him, and they would have won. But they let a first down go. I don't mean to get into it, but it was a very good game. And Texas, Vincent Young prevented USC from having a three-peat. So let's keep going.
Reggie, the USC stuff for you did not end on the greatest note. The NCAA. How do you reconcile all of it? Have you ever sat down? I mean, because I know you've talked about it before, but
not really in depth, though, detail.
Not really in detail.
There will be a time and a place for that, though.
So what they're talking about is, so apparently almost 5 years after Reggie Bush left USC, I guess they found out that he was taking money, or his parents took money, somewhere around like $300,000, and he had his own little house up there in LA. It was something along those lines, and the NCAA found out about it, and they stripped him of his Heisman Trophy. Which is really pathetic, because whatever he did on the field has nothing to do with what happened off the field. So there's no reason to strip that man of his Heisman Trophy. So let's keep going.
Well, let's address something. When I say USC, you got blowback from fans. You're the most exciting player in school history. You're their Mount.
Whoa. I'm pretty sure I can think of another back that went to USC. The Mr. If it doesn't fit, you must have quit. You guys know who I'm talking about. The Juice. I'm not even going to say his name. But if you're a baller and you know about it, then you know who he is. So let's keep going.
Rushmore guy. Then you have the NCAA stuff. A lot of pushback from fans. Now you're going to be a college broadcaster.
Yeah.
When I say USC to you today, is there love? Is there anxiety? How do you feel about that relationship?
USC will always have a special place in my heart because I made so many relationships with players who are still some of my best friends to this day, with coaches who are still some of my best friends to this day. People who still work there at the university who I still talk to, and it was a great place for me. It was a great landing spot. It was truly meant to be. I believe that me going there was fate. I believe that it was meant for me to go there. And I go back to the recruiting trip because I didn't take all my recruiting visits. I had 5, and I only went to Washington was first. I hated it, didn't like it. It was raining and cold. And then I went to USC, and it just felt right. And there was something about the intuition and the feeling in my gut that, this is where I was meant to be. And I committed.
So the funny thing is that Reggie Bush, when he came in, that was pretty much kind of the start of their dynasty, because they had a quarterback before him. I think they left his freshman year or the year after that, was Carson Palmer. And Carson Palmer put it down. I believe he got the Heisman. Then 2 years later, I think Matt Leinhart got the Heisman, and then Reggie Bush, or was vice versa. But Bush was really the middle ground, or the kind of the start of the dynasty of USC. So that's just a little backdrop. So let's keep going.
Right there on the spot. And fast forward to a couple years, I was able to win the Heisman Trophy. We were able to play in a lot of great games. I said in high school that I was going to win the Heisman Trophy. So this wasn't something that was just on my mind when I got to USC. This was something I was thinking about and I had put out into the atmosphere long before I got to USC. And it is true that words do have power.
Yeah, you're one of the 5 most popular college players of my lifetime. Tim Tebow.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
No, you were. Reggie Bush, Tim Tebow. I say Johnny Manziel. Vince Young was wildly popular.
Yes.
But you're in a very rarefied air when it comes to that. I want to shift to a couple things.
Yeah.
I want to shift to the NFL. So, there was some free agency when you played, but it is nuts.
It's crazy.
We have the Jets going out and signing multiple players.
Yeah.
What do you make of it? Now, you've been in locker rooms where they bring in a free agent. It doesn't always land well. Sometimes you pay that expensive linebacker. He gets in the room and you're thinking, I'm twice the linebacker. I've been loyal to the organization. And you paid this guy.
Yep.
The Jets brought in 4 players, maybe more. Is that too many free agents?
Well, listen, the Jets got to get better. The Jets struggled last year. I don't know if you watched any of the Jets games, but they were not just one player away. Like, they needed a lot more pieces to that puzzle. And so getting a guy like C.J. Mosley, to me, I don't know how the Ravens let him out the building.
He is a dynamic.
He's a beast. And just looking at the Baltimore Ravens defense, it's not there anymore. They're completely gone. Like, Weddle's gone. C.J. Mosley's gone. Terrell Suggs is gone. Like, I don't know how they're going to survive next year in that division. I picked the Browns.
Yeah, especially for the longest time, Baltimore was known for having a stellar defense. Absolutely stellar. Yeah, Fuminata, who was it? Ray Lewis, Suggs. Who was their DB back there? I forgot his name, but let's keep going.
Also win that division, but going back to the Jets, I like what they're doing. I like the aggressive mentality because a lot of the coaches there were on our Super Bowl team. Greg Williams, Joe Vitt, who's a linebackers coach there. So I'm very familiar with these guys, with their character, with their report, and I know that they're getting really, really good coaches, and that's what they need. They need good coaches. They got good players. They got a good young quarterback like Sam Darnold, who has a tremendous upside and a bright future in the league. And so I'm looking forward to seeing how this Jets team plays out next year because I think they're going in the right direction.
C.J. Mosley's a Pro Bowl linebacker. Crowder's a tremendously clever, smart veteran slot guy.
I agree.
And they went and got one of the best guards in the league. They also have, I think, the third pick so they'll have Jamal Adams safety, C.J. Mosley linebacker, Leonard Williams up front, and they are probably going to take the Alabama interior lineman Williams. So that will give them another star. So the Jets look like a substantially better player.
They do.
I want to ask you about Kyler Murray.
Yes.
So when you came into the league, I remember what I said on the air. I said, you were a satellite player. I said, I just want to see Reggie Bush in space. Punt return, kick returners. He's not a between-the-tackle 32-carry guy. I'm like, all I know is Reggie Bush will give me 88 yards a game. I don't care how he gets them, but he'll give me 88 yards. Kyler Murray's one of those players. Not big enough for me. Runs a little bit too much. But he just – it's production. He's productive. Are we getting too caught up in his size, or do you think it could play a factor? You played with a small quarterback, Drew Brees.
I played with Drew Brees, who is a smaller quarterback, and I never felt like he was too short. I never felt any time in the game where there was an issue with his height where I couldn't see him. Now, there were a handful of times where I couldn't see him, when I was running like a 5-yard check down, and there was linemen blocking my vision from seeing him, and all of a sudden the ball would just appear out of nowhere. But Drew plays big. He doesn't play like he.
So Drew Brees is actually taller than Kyler Murray. So I think Drew Brees is like right at 6 foot, and Kyler Murray is like they're put him like I think 5'9.5", 5'10", and that might be kind of reaching it. But Drew Brees, he's small, but he's not. He's tall enough to be able to get it done. Obviously, so I think he's 6 foot. Your typical NFL quarterback is going to go probably from 6'3" to 6'5". That's your prototypical. So, Drew Brees is undersized, but it's nothing like Kyler Murray. Nothing like Kyler Murray. So let's keep going.
6 foot. He plays like he's about 6'2", 6'3".
His release point.
And his release point is high, right? And so I think for Kyler Murray, all he's been told his whole career, his whole life probably is that he's too short, right? He's too small. And look how far he's gotten to this point now. And you don't win a Heisman Trophy, you don't get drafted in baseball, and soon to be the number one pick in football by not having tremendous leadership, tremendous work ethic. All the things that he was kind of getting knocked for in the combine where he went and did some of those interviews. To me, talk to the people who know him. Talk to his head coach. Talk to his family. Talk to the players who play with him because they all say something different. They all say.
That's true. That's very true. But Kyler Murray, for him to be so small, he's definitely going to have to make it up someplace else. And you just know these scouts have watched and assessed everything he does to make up for that height. If it is a significant issue, he makes up for it big time in other departments. So, it could be a factor, but he definitely has, I heard he has a gun and he can throw off his back foot. I mean, he's got a gun. He just got a gun. Let's put it that way. So let's keep going.
This guy can play, and he makes the guys around him better. And so to me, when I turn on the film, I see a great player, regardless of his size. I see a guy who can create space with his legs, who can extend plays and extend plays to the point to where he can find open windows, right? Like if he can't sit back in the pocket and he can move to where he can find that open window.
Yeah, and the other thing about Kyler Murray, the one thing I really like, and it's the one thing, Baker Mayfield kind of wore me out with some of his antics, but I always said with Baker, he can't bust because he throws too good a football. When you watch Kyler Murray throw a football, it's like a real football.
Yeah.
Like he puts velocity on it. Guy may be 5'9", but he throws a real NFL football.
And part of that is because he's a baseball player. Like so good of a baseball player, as you guys know, he can play in MLB. He can go pro in baseball. I think that's where some of his gun comes from and has been developed from being able to throw a baseball. Multi-talented, like Deion Sanders and who else is that baseball player? And Bo Jackson. Can't believe I forgot Bo Jackson. But let's keep going.
Finally, and Reggie Bush is here. He is part of our new Fox pregame Saturday college football show, noon Eastern. Urban Meyer, Matt Leinhart, Brady Quinn, Reggie Bush, Rob Stone, and who did I miss out on? Nobody. It's going to be a great show.
Yeah,
it's going to be fantastic. I want to ask you about the situation with Russell Westbrook last night. So my takeaway this morning is hockey players are protected by glass.
Yep.
Baseball players and football players by space. The NBA has sold virtually every seat in the building to fans.
Yeah.
They've pushed broadcasters upstairs.
Yep.
They've pushed and I think proximity is a major problem in the NBA, and it's getting.
So I think that is how close the fans can get is kind of an issue, but they've been doing it for the past 50 years. People have been able to be that close, and it hasn't really been that much of a problem. But on the other hand, the reason why hockey has its fence or it's got those walls up is because that puck can go flying about 80 miles an hour. And that thing, if you get hit in the head with that puck, you can kill somebody. That thing is solid rubber. I mean, that thing it could hit as hard as a baseball. That's why they have nets around when the batting areas, because if those ball goes out, hit somebody in the head, you can kill somebody with that. So that takes care of hockey. And I forgot what other thing he said, but let's keep going.
Worse. When you looked at this, did you side with Westbrook? Was there part of you that understood it?
I understood it 100% because if football fans were that close to the field, there would be a lot more fights. I promise you there'd be a lot more fights because I think football fans are some of the worst fans because of the things that they say, because they feel like they're separated enough to where they can literally just say anything.
By the way, it's Sunday. It's not a work day, so those afternoon games, fans come to tailgate. They walk into a stadium lubricated.
And so I side with Russell Westbrook because, for one, fans have gotten to the point to now, especially I've been to a bunch of basketball games where they just feel like they can just say anything to you because they feel like they have an influence on the game, right? And I've always felt like those courtside seats are just too close. Like, I'm surprised that somebody hasn't gotten hurt to the extent of where they're paralyzed. Because you see these big basketball players, 6'8", LeBron James is flying full speed at you to dive for a basketball. You can't get out of the way of that. He's 6'8". His length is going to hit about 10 people.
But see, Reggie, at the same time, like I said, there's nothing new. People have been able to sit that close at basketball games since the beginning, pretty much. So, and LeBron James isn't the first 6'8" guy, first 6'9" guy. So it's always been there. It's just there's something in the crowd, something with people nowadays that's kind of shifted a little bit, I guess, if you will. So I don't know. Let's keep going.
So I've always felt like the basketball fans are entirely too close. I think when you look at like college basketball, like March Madness, when I watch, for whatever reason, they're farther from.
Oh, usually, yes.
They're usually farther, right?
Right.
And so to me, that's the right way to do it because these fans are too close. You see guys running up to him on the court after games, like that's not acceptable. And I think the basketball, they got to be more proactive in this. I remember seeing this picture of Joakim Noah when he was leaving. I think he got ejected from the Miami basketball game. And as he's walking out, there's a picture of a lady who was literally flipping him off. And her finger is about this close to his face as he's walking out of the stadium. And Joakim Noah, people know him from being kind of a fiery guy.
Yeah, big energy.
He just kept walking, and he kept walking straight past the lady. And I'll never forget that picture because I said to my wife, I don't know if I could have handled it as well as he did in that position.
Well, that's where security needs to come in. To have the fans be that close, there should have been security there to take care of that and diffuse any type of situations. And like I said in other videos, the fans are going to ruin it for themselves. It's going to get to the point where you can no longer have any access to these players because there's just been too much drama. Too many things have happened that they're going to get pushed away. You're going to pay $1,000 for a seat. What used to be courtside, you could be feet away from a player. Now you're going to be separated by at least 15 feet, and you're going to pay $1,000 for it. So I don't know. We'll just have to see what happens. Let's keep going.
Because that was, for one, she was out of pocket, man. I mean, that's just, you can't have that happening and expect a player who was playing in this sport where he's supposed to be aggressive.
And he's already in a heightened emotional space.
Yes.
Walking off the floor.
He just got ejected from the game. You flipping him off this close to his face. She's lucky something worse didn't happen.
By the way, the new show you're on is 11 Eastern. I said noon. The game starts at noon. The show starts at 11 Eastern, right before the noon Eastern games. Reggie Bush, Urban Meyer, Matt Leinhart, Brady Quinn, Rob Stone. Cannot wait.
I'm excited. I'm excited to be here. I can't wait to help be a part of this show and hopefully help take it to the next level, man. I'm looking forward to it.
We're looking forward to having you. Great to have you as a teammate. Hi, everybody. Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest.
Retard to not move. This doesn't.